Years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica, the number 3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
We've got it. This transmission is coming to you.
Waging war on corruption.
All right, you are go.
It's Alex Jones, coming to you live from the front lines of the info war.
All right, folks, we are live. Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday edition. It is the 9th day of October 2011, and I am energized, despite the fact I'm physically tired, up Friday in Dallas for a In the Fed protest, actually going after the true problem in this country, the money laundering globalist insiders that control the issuance of currency and credit, and they're setting up this undemocratic world government. Amazing turnout up there. I'd say 400 people. About 300 or more showed up at the In the Fed in Houston. And even though it was in the rain, probably about 120 down in San Antonio today, even though it was raining cats and dogs down there. I guess symbolic God trying to wash away the filth of the private Federal Reserve. And it was interesting that the police came out about an hour and a half into it and said, the Federal Reserve has called and complained and asked that you get off their private property. And I said, officers, please say that on tape. This is federal. They said, no, please say on tape that this Federal Reserve is not federal. And they said, no, it's not. It's private. And they're asking you to get off their private property. We said, of course. We want to let the mafia have this organization that looks like a government building and has all these fake federal seals on it and calls itself the Federal Reserve, and we'll get off their property and go to the sidewalk. And the police were smiling and laughing with us. In fact, Rob Dew is here right now dumping all the hours of protest and demonstration video down. And that's the first clip he's going to have ready for radio listeners and PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. That is coming up later, probably in the second hour today. We'll play some clips that haven't been seen yet from some of the demonstrations out there. And he's also going to post at PrisonPlanet.tv some of that, and also at our YouTube channel. And a lot of the instant uploads we did via iPhones that aren't the highest res are already up on the YouTube channel and at PrisonPlanet.tv from the field. But we're also going to be posting a lot of high-res stuff to PrisonPlanet.tv and, of course, on InfoWars Nightly News throughout the week. We'll be here covering all of that. Okay, I want to come back from break because what I thought was going to happen has now happened. It's exactly as I saw it. It wasn't hard to see that happening. The establishment always tries to divide and conquer, always tries to balkanize. And then because of their divide and conquer, you're basically forced to respond to them and what they've done. And there is no doubt now that the establishment from the beginning has tried, and in some cases failed, others succeeded, in co-opting the Occupy Wall Street movement. That's why we have headlines here. Occupy Wall Street finds sympathy from the Federal Reserve Chairman. Because it's all this nebulous, the 1%'s making too much money, 40% of the wealth, and on and on and on. And we need higher taxes to get the wealthy people. Driving in, listening to the local affiliate, we're on 590 AM, I heard a woman talking about we need to tax small businesses more because that'll help the economy. I mean, they have no idea how reality operates, and that's exactly how the banksters manipulate people. So I want to speak to the Tea Party people. I want to speak to the Occupy Wall Street people, and I know it's fun to fight with each other and get into tribal warfare and say Cowboys versus Redskins, Chevy versus Ford, Pepsi versus Coca-Cola, good guys versus the bad guys, Cowboys and Indians. Don't pick a side whether you're for the Cowboys or the Indians here. Okay, the Cowboys and the Indians are all getting stuff put in their water, all getting our pension funds destroyed, all having our currency devalued. We're all under attack. So no matter if you see the Republicans as the Indians, or the Cowboys as the good guys, the bad guys, whether you see the Indians as the good guys, the bad guys, let's just get off all of this fighting with each other. Let's talk about the reality. We'll also take your phones throughout the transmission. It's In the Fed. Stay with us.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on Earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship, body scanners, sound cameras, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Sunday, the 9th day of October, 2011. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours, as we are every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 5 to 7 Eastern. I guess, 2 to 4 Pacific, 3 to 5 Mountain. I want to get people to get outside the left-right paradigm, outside that box, and get serious, get focused. I want people out there to really listen to me and to really pay attention to what I'm going to say to them, okay? I really want that. Because if we continue to allow the establishment to play us off against each other, we're going to continue to go down the same road. Our republic falling apart. Now, I just returned from a 3-day trip in Dallas, Houston, and ended it this morning in San Antonio, demonstrating at the In the Fed rallies that have been kicked off across the nation. There are these buildings all across the country that look like federal buildings, that have federal seals on them, that are private. And they're alien to our country. They arrived in 1913, and since then have transferred a large portion of the country's wealth to offshore banks. Our middle class has shrunk in the last 30 years directly under the policies of this group. Now, they are not free market. They are what you call crony capitalist or monopoly capitalist. They do not like regular capitalism. Here's an example of crony capitalism. General Electric finances Obama, along with Wall Street powerhouses, 4-1, his Republican challenger. Not saying McCain was good. The point is they knew Obama was going to be the man. He gets in. General Electric in the last 2 years has been given waivers for their power plants. This is all on record. But every other major company isn't given waivers over the new greenhouse rules. And hundreds have been shut down or are being shut down. And power prices nationwide have gone up over 30% in just the last couple of years because more than half our energy is produced by coal. It's totally clean. All that comes out is water vapor and carbon dioxide and heat. And the government has federal monitor systems in those stacks. It goes through giant scrubber systems. But I don't want to digress here. I'm just trying to explain something. You're not going to hear Occupy Wall Street, and you're not going to hear the Tea Party, one being cast as the left, the other being cast as the right, so they can play us off against each other. Can't have populism in America. Can't ever have real issues. No, just have groups that are supposedly in their little enclaves that can then be played off against each other in divide and conquer, in balkanization. So, that is crony capitalism. I was reading an Austin Energy report just last week that was even in the Statesman. It was also in the Austin Metro, a new local paper, but it was actually their numbers. And they said some businesses and homes will pay 60% more in the next 2 years. I didn't even know that. And they're saying, well, if you use more power, we're going to punish you. But it said the government buildings are exempt, and they're exempt from blackouts, and they're going to have blackouts now. It's like we live in Romania or something, because they're shutting down power plants everywhere. Now, what do you call that? Because the class warfare people, the average Occupy Wall Street folks, they're just saying, hey, we want our student loans paid off. Or they're saying, we want more jobs, we want more opportunity. We don't think this country's going in the right direction. They're not very sophisticated, but they know that they've got a problem. And yes, the Democratic Party admits they've come in from day one and tried to take it over. So they've had the head of the Federal Reserve. They've had Obama. They've had the head of the Dallas Fed. They've had Geithner. They've had Al Gore call for an Arab Spring, and they've all endorsed it. Now, isn't that funny? A lot of mainline Republicans still can't criticize the Federal Reserve because they see it as a corporation or as a money system, and that can never do any wrong. In fact, a lot of Republicans can't even criticize GE because it's a private company. And so if it wants to use government regulations to shut down its competition, so be it, because it's a corporation. It cannot do wrong. That's the mainline Republican view. Now, on the other end, you've got kind of the socialist people who think government can do no wrong and corporations can do no right. And you add these two groups together, they're both addled and don't know how the world works, okay? The truth is there's insider mega corporations that openly call it a new world order to set up a global private corporate governance system where the majority of your tax money is paid to them through contracts and bailouts and different scams. And where government, merging with the big mega corporations, using that power, shuts down their competition. And it happens in beef production, poultry, farming, water treatment, electrical generation, everything. Everything. And these corporations are patient. They'll come in, take 10 years getting their people in the legislature of the state, and then they'll just totally take over the water systems, the bridges, the roads, and they call it privatization. But it's not even privatization. It's still government run. You still pay for it. They just throw a toll road on top of it and rape you. That's not free market when General Electric comes in and sends in the Nature Conservancy and others to make it sexy to shut down your state-run or your local or even shut down your privately owned small power plants because then GE just ups their capacity but then charges you more. See, if you don't talk about the crony capitalism, there is no way out of this. And the bankers are going to take the public's unsophisticated understanding of this, their childlike education level when it comes to real geopolitical and corporate and governance issues, and they're going to completely use the general public's anger, as the bankers always do, the inner coterie of bankers, the banksters, the private Federal Reserve shareholders. They're going to use that ignorance to sell class warfare. Let's get this straight. The Democratic Party, the Federal Reserve, are openly engaged in class warfare. And Rand Paul's right that he's afraid this is turning into a Paris mob like they had in the French Revolution, the different from our revolution, where they just killed anybody that had, you know, one French franc more than they did. That's what we're talking about, is a red terror in this country that is run by the George Soroses who finance this stuff worldwide. They know the public gets mad because of their globalist policies, shutting a country down with high taxes, regulation, corporate bailouts,